Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Once Upon a Crescent, a Muslim kids podcast. This podcast is a collection of original children's stories. I am your author and storyteller, Mrs. Hashmi. This is season 3. I hope you have your seatbelts on because I'm planning on taking your imagination on a fun story time ride. Today's story is called Raaif's Rumbling Roar. Raaif the lion had a rumbling roar that was feared by all the animals in the African savanna. The animals that this lion ever met shook in fear and quivered at the sight of him. Raaif didn't think of himself as scary, though. If anything, Raaif was quite the gentle animal at heart. He enjoyed doing things that other lions didn't care for. Sometimes this gentle lion would crouch down low to the earth to watch the bugs and bees hovering above the flowers, and it would make Raaif smile just to watch these little creatures busily going about their day. Raaif also enjoyed playing with the frogs by the river. He'd make the frogs their very own obstacle course by digging his paw in the mud to make little holes in it. This way the frogs could play and hop in and out of the holes. Raaif would even lay out different sized sticks for the frogs to jump over. It made him happy to observe other creatures. But not all creatures enjoyed being observed, and not all creatures enjoyed being interacted with by a lion. While Raaif always had a gentle heart about the way he saw small animals, other bigger animals did not have the same gentleness around Raaif. Let's get out of here before that rumbling roar machine comes by. As soon as Raaif approached the open plains of the savannah, in a flash the other animals were gone.
I don't even mean to be scary. That's not my intention when I come by.
Raaif the lion sadly thought to himself. The lion of the savannah roamed to another area to find a tree to nap under. Raaif plopped down on the ground and stretched out his enormous lion body. He was just about to let out a yawn when he spotted a gazelle tugging and struggling to free herself from a tangled group of vines. They were wrapped around her hoof, and she tried to yank free. Raaif's gentle heart made him immediately jump to try to rescue this gazelle from such a tangled mess. Raaif opened his jaw, revealing his razor-sharp teeth. He used his incisors to yank and slice through the thick vines. Raaif's large lion mouth was right next to the gazelle's hoof. Sure, this may have seemed threatening to the gazelle, but in Raaif's heart, he just wanted to help her. With one last pull, Raaif was able to free the gazelle from this tangled mess. There was a look of frozen fear in the gazelle's eyes. She watched Raaif as this magnificent lion rubbed his tooth on a rock.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Raaif. Oh, don't mind me. I have some vines stuck between my teeth here,
Raaif said as he tried to floss it out against a sharp rock. Wa alaikum assalam. I'm Haleema. I don't want trouble. I didn't mean to wander into your territory. Please don't eat me. I'm out of here. And within seconds, Haleema the gazelle frantically escaped the conversation.
I didn't mean to scare you. That wasn't my intention.
Raaif called out to the gazelle. The lion stood there by himself, disappointed but not surprised by this animal's reaction. Raaif was a lion after all, and Haleema was a gazelle. Raaif wondered out loud.
I wonder if Haleema was more terrified by my teeth or by my roar.
He watched as Haleema the Gazelle galloped far, far away from him. Raaif felt the loneliness set in as the gazelle's figure faded into the distance. He turned around and went near the river. Raaif opened his mouth and extended his jaws as far as he could open them.
But are they really that scary? Am I scary?
Thought Raaif as he took a closer look at himself. I mean, sure, Raaif had super sharp teeth. Raaif noticed his incisors, his canines, and carnassial teeth glimmering sharply back at him. He looked at his reflection in the river. The incisors are the smallest teeth at the front of the mouth, and they're used for gripping and tearing the meat. The carnassials are the sharpest teeth at the back of the mouth, and they're like a pair of kitchen scissors to cut meat. Okay, maybe the sight of Raaif's teeth is scary, but truthfully, Raaif never meant to scare any of the animals. In his large lion heart, he really just wanted to do a nice, kind deed. Raaif's thoughts were interrupted by a very loud and annoying slurping sound. Raaif turned his head around and shook his mane wildly. Raaif spotted a monkey pressing his lips against the tree behind him. The monkey sucked on the tree and continued to make that very annoying noise. The monkey froze in fear when she realized that Raaif had turned around and spotted her. The monkey paused her slurping for a moment and blinked blankly. She looked like she was numb and stuck. Raaif called out to the monkey.
Are you thirsty up there? Why don't you come down and have a drink of water down here? Doesn't sound like you're able to get any sap from that tree.
The monkey shivered and shuddered in fear. She barely replied. Walaikum assalam. I'm Haadiya. Actually, it's okay. You can take your turn at the river. No rush. I'll just take a quick drink up here from this tree, and I'll be out of your way. I'm totally fine up here, thanks.
Oh, that's silly. You aren't able to even have a proper drink of sap. Please come down and take some water, Haadiya.
Haadiya shifted her eyes from right to left. She blinked blankly again and again, not knowing how to escape this very threatening situation. While Raaif was truly being nice and kind, all Haadiya the monkey could think of was how Raaif's teeth looked when he spoke from down there. They're like little swords in his mouth. I'm not going anywhere near that lion. Haadiya the little monkey addressed Raaif. I'm happy with my sap. I don't feel like coming down at all, the frightened little monkey yelled. She went on to slurping the sap from the tree, but this time a little more quicker and quieter too.
Okay, suit yourself. But you know, I'll just help you so you can drink easier from the tree.
With that, Raaif immediately pounced as high as he could and opened his claws and slashed the tree inches away from where Haadiya was drinking from. The monkey was now quivering in fear. Did this lion really just claw the tree right where I'm standing? Raaif landed right on his paws perfectly. He smiled to himself and called up to Haadiya.
Try it now. You won't have to slurp as hard now. The sap will come trickling out.
Sure enough, the sap was already trickling out from the tree where Raaif slashed. But Haadiya the monkey scurried away, yelping in fear. The monkey pushed with her utmost speed to escape away from this whole interaction. After witnessing Raaif's claws in action, Haadiya decided this was no time to stay.
I didn't mean to scare you. That wasn't my intention.
Raaif called out to the monkey.
What a waste,
thought Raaif as he watched as the sap spill all the way down against the tree. Raaif was amazed at how perfectly he was able to scratch against the tree to make this possible. But suddenly a wave of sadness came over him.
I guess I'm too scary to even be helpful,
Raaif thought sadly to himself. He turned around to walk away from the river to be by himself somewhere where no animal would be around. After walking some distance away from the river, Raaif turned around one last time to look at the tree. He spotted Haadiya the monkey from a distance and realized that Haadiya the monkey was still quivering in fear, but she returned to the tree to enjoy this sweet, sticky liquid now that Raaif wasn't nearby. Raaif hung his head low and let his mane cover his eyes. He walked further away until he felt a heavy tiredness overcome him.
It's time for a nap,
Raaif said to himself. Raaif jumped on top of a large boulder that overlooked the savanna down below. He squinted his eyes onto the land and observed a herd of elephants traveling across the savanna. The herd had many young baby elephants in the group. Raaif watched as the little elephants ran to keep up with their mothers, who were more than 3 times their size. Just ahead of this group of traveling elephants was an oversized, thorny branch that blocked the path that they were traveling on. Raaif wondered,
how will the little baby elephants cross this path with such a dangerously pokey branch on the ground?
Raaif knew the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, removing a harmful thing from the path is a charitable act. Raaif's gentle heart couldn't take the thought of a baby elephant poking its little foot on a thorny branch, or worse, tripping and falling on the branch itself. This lion may look big and scary on the outside, but on the inside, Raaif was actually a very caring creature. Raaif sprung forward and hopped down from the large boulder that he was laying on, and onto the ground he landed. This lion mustered up all of his remaining energy to speed forward towards that thorny branch. He approached the branch and found an empty space without the thorns on it. He opened his jaw wide and let out a deep, rumbling roar. That roar was Raaif's way of communicating to the elephant herd that there was a dangerous thorny branch on their path. Raaif looked down to the large size of this branch and took a deep breath. He bit down on the branch on the few inches of space that didn't have any thorns on it. This lion used all of his might and strength to drag the branch to the side, far away from the main path. The elephants trumpeted their horns in fear as they huddled around their babies. The herd was still and waited until Raaif disappeared from their sight to continue on their path. Raaif hung his head low and thought,
my roar wasn't meant to scare them. That wasn't my intention at all.
Just then, an eagle soared above Raaif's head. The eagle landed right on the boulder where Raaif was headed. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Haneefa. I've got to stop and tell you that I saw how amazingly you moved that thorny branch from the elephant herd's path. It is so disappointing that they ended up being so scared of you. Those elephants didn't even want to move forward on their path until you left. Isn't it so upsetting when others don't see the nice things that we do? But it kind of makes me remember there's a hadith to think about in times like that. Verily, Allah does not look at our appearance or wealth, but rather Allah looks at our hearts and actions. Those other animals may not know it, but guess who does know your intentions and does see the goodness in your heart? Raaif the lion let out a rumbling roar and exclaimed,
Allah!
Raaif's rumbling roar startled the birds nearby and they flew away. But this time, Raaif didn't mind. He knew that ultimately Allah understood him and his intentions. Jazakallah khair everyone for tuning in to Once Upon a Crescent, a Muslim kids podcast. This story marks the 30th story that I've produced on this show. If you've enjoyed this story or any of the others, please consider supporting my work. Even if it's $1 a month, check out my Patreon link in the description below.